Welcome to my session. In this particular session, I will be talking about typecasting. Actually, typecasting, when you talk about typecasting, we're actually concerned with changing the data type of a variable from one form to another form, right? Say, for example, I have a variable of int, right? Say it is sum, right? And I want to change into double, right? So I can change this, I can change that, and I can change it using the concept of typecast, right? And the typical syntax is that type name in the bracket, okay, and expression, like what exactly the data type I want. Say for example, I want double. So I put double in the bracket and then followed by an expression, okay, or a variable. So I am giving a sum. Say for example, it can be an expression x plus y, where x is also integer, y is also was integer, right? So and I am changing the value, the summation of both into double. So typically when we talk about typecasting is basically it is nothing but alteration of variable belonging to one data type to another data, and the basic syntax for it is in bracket typecast, type name, and the expression, example double and sum. So having said this, typecast actually have two types. One is called implicit, another is called explicit. So by the name itself we can understand, when you talk about implicit means something which happens internally, there is no kind of external external influences required. But whenever we talk about explicit, yes, some kind of external information influences required. So let us see both implicit and explicit one by one. So implicit typecast. So when I talk about implicit, as I was stating that no kind of external. So it will be done by, as we are talking about C programming, it will be done by the compiler without any external trigger. So we usually say this is automatically it is done, okay. And it have an expression where more than one type of data is present. Say for example, I have a variable num which is 10, and I have a character which is say a, right? So now if I write num equal to num plus ch, so now the character a will be converted into num. Why? Because you understand that when you talk about implicit typecast, variables are upgraded to data type of variable with a larger type. So if you see here, character is converting into int is converting into float, and float is converting into double. There is sort of upgradation that is happening. So here num is equal to 10 and character equal to character is a, right? So x key value of a, capital A, is 65. So that's now 10 and plus 65 will give me 75, and 75 will be stored into the num. And this is done automatically by the compiler without any kind of external trigger, because you see the expression whether it is more than one data type is present, right? And what kind of data type is converting based on the upgradation, and it is storing into the other variable itself, right? So this implicit type class actually have the upgradation which I have told you. So it will upgrade it from the data type to of the larger value. Yes, and set a certain loss, because I'm converting, sign type into sign type, unsigned type into unsigned type. It is okay, no changes. But when I convert sign type into an unsigned type, yes, typically there will be information loss, because when you talk about unsigned value, we are talking from zero to the positive, all positive values, no the negative value. When we now talk about sign, we are talking about negative value and positive value, right? So typically that will be the loss, right? Okay. So now let us take an example here. So I said int num is equal to 10, float fnum, double dnum, and character ch. So I have first my expression num equal to num plus ch, then fnum equal to fnum plus 2.0, and dnum equal to num plus fnum. So now num plus ch means ch is character, so it will consider the ASCII value, that is 65. So 10 plus 65 will give me 75. Okay, so ch is implicitly converted into int. Now here we have this is float. So num is 10 and sorry, now num is equal to 75. So 75 plus 2.0, it will give me 77.0, and that will be stored in fnum. Now dnum is equal to num plus fnum. Now num value is 75 and fnum is 77.0. So the board will be now converted into double, and the result will be 152.00000. So that is what I will get. So now I will get 75, 65 plus 10. Fnum I will get 77.00 because num is 75, it is plus 2.0 converting into float. I got 77.000. And next again I'm adding num 75 with 77, and what is stored in the concept of double. So I got 52.00000. Okay, so implicit typecast we talk about done by the compiler without any external, and we need an expression. Yes, and there is certain upgradation of variables, yes, from the towards the largest data type, and there is certain loss if you are talking converting from signed to unsigned. And typically we have seen this example. If you have a num equal to num plus ch is a character, num is integer, so this will be character will take the ASCII value. If it is capital A, the ASCII value is 65, so 65 plus 10 is give me 75. And num is integer but 2.0 float value, it's added into, okay, right? So 2.0 actually is stored in the form of double, but here we are talking about fnum as float, so both will be converted into float and it will be stored as 77.000. Now dnum is double, so num and float, fnum, num integer to double, fnum float to double, and it will be stored in a double. As a result I get 75, 77.00, and dnum 152.00. Okay, so now having said this, let us move to explicit typecast. So explicit typecast will be done by the programmer, the developer itself during the time of programming, right? And the syntax is, as I was telling you, you have a type name and you have the expression itself, what type of data you want, and you convert it into that, and it is not done by automatically. So now I have a double num equal 10.523, and in sum is an integer. Now I write sum equal to num plus 1, and that means sum is integer, so I am typecasting it. I take the integer part of num, which is 10. 10 will be added to 1 and the sum will be 11. I am repeating again. Double, we have 10.523. Okay, now I need the integer part, right? Int of num, the integer part is 10, so I get 10. So 10 plus 1 is equal to 11, and now sum will be equal to 11. So this is what is explicit conversion, right? So explicit conversion 11 equal to, so 10 plus 1 is equal to 11. Okay, so typecasting advantage. What is the advantage? So if you have different type of data types and you are adding into it, yes, it helps us to easily add it. Or sometimes it will be taken care of by the implicit by the compiler. So sometimes as a programmer I will going to take care of it, and I can easily do that. So program become lightweight. When you talk about lightweight, we are talking about less memory, less CPU time, and all those things. Yes, absolutely, because you are converting into that, into the required data type. As a result, you know, the memory location or the CPU time actually it actually reduces it, right? So having said this, so what we have seen that in this particular session, I will continue in the next session about different functions also. So what we have seen that typecast means we are converting or altering a particular variable, yes, or if it can be an expression into one, but from data type to another data type. And the basic syntax that we have seen is type name expression, okay, and say for example sum is one of variable of int and I'm changing it to double, and there are two type, implicit and explicit. Implicit will always automatically will be done by the compiler without any kind of external trigger, okay. So when there is one more than one data type, it will automatically trigger. So if you have num equal to num plus ch, num is 10, ch is the ASCII value a, right? And the ASCII value of capital A is 65. So it will take 65 plus 10, it will give me 75, right? And that is upgrade. So when you talk about implicit from character to int to float to double, and also there is loss because we are converting sign to sign, unsigned to unsigned. But when you talk about sign to unsigned, we are talking about sign both negative positive. But when you talk about unsigned, it is only the positive. So there is a certain loss of information into it, right? And we saw this example where you add a integer with a character, we have seen the integer with a double value storing into the float, and then we have seen the integer with a float value storing into the double. So implicitly it is converted, right? Ch is converted with the help of ASCII value, then added we have this is 75, then 75 plus 2.0 is here into 77.0, and 75 plus 77.0, it's convert double 152.00, right? So then we see explicit typecast, which is developed, it is done by the developer or programmer itself during the programming itself. Then the syntax as a type name expression. Yes, so I have an LO like 10.52. Then simply I will be converting, I will just write int and num plus 1. So integer value of this is 10, so 10 plus 1 will give me 11. So we have this explicit conversion, and this is the value that we got. Yes, so advantages, we can compute expressions, right? So if you have different type of variables of different data type, we can easily calculate that we have seen num plus ch, two different type of data types and all. And formally we the program get lightweight. Lightweight means it's of less use of memory, less use of CPU time, so it helped the program to do the lightweight. So this, in this particular session, we have seen what is typecast, we have seen the syntax, and we have seen the two different typecasts, implicit and explicit. Yes, implicit automatically done by company, explicit done by the developer. Okay, and then we see other advantage in terms of compute, expression having different data type can be easily computed, and the program becomes a lightweight, which is, when you talk about lightweight, we are talking about less use of memory, less use of the CPU time. Okay, so thank you so much well, in this particular session. And the next session I will be further moving into some of the function that is associated with the typecasting itself. Okay, thank you so much. Do keep watching my video and do subscribe it. Thank you.